Hey guys, welcome to another one-year review. This time I'm going to be taking a look at the Say Anything album, Hebrews.
Hitchhiker by the side of the road. You climbed into his truck so he could bring you.
So welcome to another one-year later review. This time I'm going to be taking a look at last year's Say Anything album, Hebrews. Now, this album was definitely a much better effort than the preceding album, which was Anarchy, My Dear. I mentioned in my review, one of the things I liked about it was that it definitely felt there was this raw emotion coming from Max Bemis that we haven't felt in a while. It really felt like this was coming from a real place versus Anarchy, My Dear, where it felt like he was writing it just to kind of force himself to write this edgy album as everyone was expecting. I did also mention that this is not Is a Real Boy. If that's what you're looking for, is that what you're expecting, you really need to just grow up and get over that. They're probably not going to write another album like that. I mean, that album, first of all, I don't think could be written again, even if he did try. But, you know, I don't think he's trying at this point, and that's really, it's a good thing because this album feels a lot more natural flowing than past entries. This album also features a lot of guest vocals on it, from Every Time I Die's Keith Buckley to Blink-182's Tom DeLonge, and I felt like that was kind of one of the low points of this album. Not saying any of them were bad, just they felt underutilized. It never felt like they were really put through their full potential, and a lot of them felt like they were just tacked on the end of it, or just separate from the actual songs that it really didn't flow as well. You know, they did do a ton of guest vocals with the In Defense of the Genre series with album one and, well, part one and part two. It was a 2 CD whole album, but those were much better integrated into the actual songs. They felt like they were part of the band versus just, hey, let's bring these guys in and give them this part, and here's a part I wrote, and just here you go. Now, one of the other things I didn't like about this is there are some kind of cheesy moments in there. There are some songs I don't particularly like. The first single they released was titled 666, and it just kind of feels a little juvenile. It feels like it was written, you know, by a high schooler, you know, trying to write something, you know, edgy. It kind of had the problems I had with Anarchy, My Dear. It's not a bad song overall. It's just not great. It just really feels kind of out of place overall, and it feels like it's trying too hard on this album. The other one I didn't like, but I feel a lot of people seem to like a lot, is The Shape of Love to Come. It's another song that just feels so out of place and doesn't really work well. I don't like the structure of it. I don't like Max Bemis and Sherry Dupree Bemis. I don't like how they end up on this, how they sound on that track. Definitely much better example is the song Boyd, which is kind of written as a warning to their future, well, at this time their future daughter, and their now, I think, almost 2-year-old daughter Lucy, as kind of a warning to her for future lovers or boyfriends or whoever, you know, kind of that Max is going to see through your bullshit kind of thing. And it's kind of a cute song. It's angry, but at the same time it's anger because of a protective parent. You kind of definitely get that feel to it. You know, I feel like this, and I said in the review, I feel like this album kind of took you through his journey through the pregnancy, the whole pregnancy, and you kind of feel it. One of the things I mentioned is that the lack of guitars on this album really do not hurt it. There's a lot of other instruments that do very well on this album. So, all that said, how do I feel it holds up a year later? I still feel like this is a great Say Anything album. I feel like it's a great album. It's enjoyable to listen to. It's fun to listen to. It's easy to connect to. I would imagine it's probably easier if you are a parent. There's a lot of looking into yourself and kind of just hating yourself, and these moments of just you know, looking at your future and just imagining your entire life just going to shit, and just that fear and just that emotion that comes from that fear, and it's definitely better than Anarchy, My Dear. I would put it up as I like it as much as I like their self-titled album, which I'm a huge fan of. I know a lot of people kind of didn't particularly like that album. I still feel it is a great album. I think a lot of people who, I mention this a lot, but I do feel it's true, that a lot of people who don't enjoy this album, don't enjoy their self-titled album, some people that even didn't enjoy In Defense of the Genre, I feel a lot of them are really kind of just fans of Is a Real Boy, and I can understand that, but don't say you hate the new album from Say Anything. You don't like Say Anything, you just like It's a Real Boy, and it's something you definitely admit. But I think that this features some of the best lyrics of any Say Anything song. It also features some cheesy kind of groan-worthy lyrics, but it definitely mostly features really, really high-end lyrics for it. I would definitely recommend this for anybody, and I still recommend it. I think it is something that people should give a chance and listen to. It's a lot better than you probably have been told, and I really think it deserves praise, and it deserves to be recognized as an extremely good Say Anything album.